welcome back to Michigan Muckraker. My name is Michelle. Today is April 10th of 2023, and thank you very much for joining me in today's Gotion News Roundup. A lot has happened in the last week that I want to share with you, so I'm going to jump right in. But real quick before I get started, I hope you guys had a wonderful Easter. Where I'm at in Michigan, it was just under 70 degrees and sunny, which is a fabulous Easter for Michiganders. There's been snow on the ground in the past, which I'll take sun any day. So I hope you had a wonderful meal and good friends and family around you, or at least just a beautiful day outside. I also want to say thank you. Last week was the protest on April 5th, protesting Gotion. The battery panel went virtual only due to threats, and so the locals held a protest, which overall went very well. There was only one incident, and I will get into that, but I wanted to say thank you to the community for showing up, using your voice. Everybody I talked to walking up and down the protest was so wonderful, and I thank everybody who I got to meet and who watches the show. And so thank you. I know I've said that probably a million times already this video, but I just feel so thankful that I am in such a community as this. So jumping into the incident, a drive-by, airsoft drive-by happened around 6:30, which is obviously really scary. We don't know who exactly did that, but they were driving an SUV, silver in color. And one man did get hit directly in the chest and in the arm. And thankfully, again, that was an airsoft gun and not a real weapon. But I don't know why someone would do that. I wonder if it was a teenager, because this is 2023 and teenagers act like this is Clockwork Orange or something. They're nihilistic and narcissistic sometimes, and so maybe that was what happened. Or was it a warning of some kind? I mean, either way, it was a warning. We need to be careful. So I really hope that those individuals, I think there was two other that might have gotten grazed, but the one man got directly hit in the chest. So I hope that they're okay, and we need to pray for them, but we need to pray for the guy, or the individual rather, that shot the airsoft gun even more for that individual. So let me know in the comments down below. Do you think it was a teenager or something more nefarious? The next item I have, I'm going to switch over, is the Green Township Rally that's going to be held at the Majestic Frisians Horse Farm on 19 Mile Road in Big Rapids. No-go on Gotion. It's going to be held April 22nd from 1 to 5 p.m., so I hope to see you there. The speakers, it looks like it's hosted by Justin Barclay. The special video messages from Glenn Beck and Tudor Dixon. And the speakers include Christina Caramo, Ron Armstrong, and Tammy Clark. So this is not a Republican rally, this is a rally for the community, but the Republicans are the only ones that are helping the community, and so I see no qualms with taking help. If Democrats came and talked to us and wanted to speak and be helpful, then of course we would welcome them, but the only people that have reached out are Republicans, and so I want to thank them for helping. I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, but if someone is honest and helpful and, tells the truth and is doing good for the community, then, I'm not going to turn them down just because they have an R next to their name. That's ridiculous. So thank you to all these individuals. I've never met any of them, but I appreciate that they're going to come out and speak, and I look forward to live streaming it for y'all. I will be there. So, thank you, Pilot. Yes, I was glad to be at the protest as well, and I'm very thankful to everybody that I've met. The next thing, sorry guys. Tomorrow, that's the other thing I wanted to share. Tomorrow is Green Charter Township meeting at 7 p.m. I hope y'all will be there. I'm curious to see what's going to happen if more than 110 people show up, because the supervisor of Green Township, James Chapman, put a sign out that says the building capacity is 110. However, with the Open Meetings Act, everybody who wants to be at the meeting has a right to be there. So how is this going to work? I'm not sure. I have a little clip from a pop-up meeting that happened on Friday, Good Friday, which was, I don't even know what day that was, April 7th. They did give 18 hours notice, which is the bare minimum. They dropped a notice at 3 p.m. and luckily people showed up at 9 a.m. on Good Friday, and thank you to the Midwesterner who showed up and live streamed the event. They end up going to a closed meeting, but the people that went to use their voice, they stuck around, and so I'm not going to go through this whole video, but I wanted to show you really quick Chapman here being utterly ridiculous. I mean, this is how it starts. Real quick, you see this little thing right here? We didn't see it for a long time. Now, all of this was being live streamed, so he could just go and watch the live stream like I did. But that's funny to me that he has this little recorder right here, and he leaves it when they go in the closed session. Look at him stare at the camera, and he adjusts his fat cat belly or concealed carry, I don't know, but he adjusts something and looks directly at the camera. I'm gonna rewind, I'm sorry. It's only 25 seconds. Yeah, she's filming. Taking pictures, maybe. Yeah, I hear it. She's snapping pictures. Checks his watch. And he smirks at the camera. This guy, dude. This guy. He's something else, man. Oh, look at... He's counting. He's counting. So there was well under 110 people, but he's doing this for what reason? To kind of show threat or something? It's ridiculous. But what if there was over 110 people? Are you going to kick them out? That's illegal. Are you going to move to a bigger location? Like, what's your plan here? I'd like to know. I love how the Midwesterner zooms in on him. But yeah, they go right to a closed session. But this guy, he doesn't want us to go and hold him accountable and watch what he's doing. Obviously, that's why they go to a closed session. But the fact that you are supposed to be the representative for these people, and yet you detest them, like you show this terrible side that you obviously don't care about representing the people. You don't even want them there. Yeah, I agree they need to find a bigger venue because there will be, in my opinion, there will be more than 110 people tomorrow. Let's see. I want to say to everyone at the end, there are public comments, and maybe in another video I'll go over them, but thank you to all those people. It's not easy to speak truth to power, period, but especially when it's your neighbor, possibly someone you knew your entire life. And so these people are very courageous, and I appreciate them because courage is contagious, 100%. And so the more people that we get to speak up, the more other people will have the courage to speak up as well. So you're paving the way. And so I just can't thank you guys enough. I love this community. I'm thankful to be a part of it. he's about to close the meeting. I want to show that really quick, and then we'll move on.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd be kind enough to silence your phones and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Sir, if you are disorderly, the door... Here.
Janet Clark, here. Jim Chapman.
Here.
Denise McFarland. Here. Gary Todd.
Here.
Roger Carroll.
Here. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you have the agenda in front of you. Okay. First order of business, I believe. Jim, you have the motion?
Yes. I move that the Board of Trustees convene in closed session.
Then, you know, Chapman says, hey, I think you have something that you want to say, right? We made a deal that, because Jim Chapman can't call for a closed session, but hey, you could call for a closed session, and this guy right here does.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm not going to talk if you're going to talk.
I'm not kidding you. I have done it for 37 years, and I will be happy to escort anyone to the door that chooses to be disorderly. We have a meeting to run. You will have opportunity to speak, and I will not tolerate any interruptions. Jim?
Wow. A tyrant.
Would you like to proceed?
I'll start over. Move that the Board of Trustees convene in closed session under the section 8(1) small letter h of the Open Meetings Act to consider material exempt from disclosure by the state statute section 13(1) small g of the Freedom of Information Act, being a letter from its attorney dated April 7th, 2023, for the reason that the letter is...
All right, so this right here, the Midwesterner, good 27 seconds.
No questions from the floor. Sir, if you are disorderly, the door is that way. I explained that last month. Okay, there's a time for public comments, and that will be when it will be available for folks to speak. Okay? All right. Roll call, please.
Dale Jernstedt.
Yeah, so you could see just how he feels about the people that are there trying to hold him accountable, which is unfortunate, because if he was doing the right thing, then he would be glad for people to get involved. But he's not doing the right thing, which is why he goes into closed session. One more thing really quick. At the end here, right after we discover, because, let's see, it's somewhere in here before they come out of the closed session, right before they come out of the closed session, somebody discovers that little recorder, and everybody stops talking. And not 2 minutes after they stop talking, they come out of the closed session. So were they just listening? Now, this is just speculation. Obviously I wasn't in the closed session, but were they just listening to see what everybody says, and then when they stopped talking, they came out? Because I don't believe in coincidences, and that was very strange to me. So let me know in the comments. Do you think they were just listening in the closed session to everything that we were saying? I mean, again, he could just go on the Midwesterner, but perhaps he wasn't aware of that it was being live streamed. I'm not sure. But I appreciate, again, everybody that showed up. It's unfortunate that they're doing this shady stuff where they hide what they're doing from the people that they're supposed to be working for. I hate that. We're going to jump into this 9 and 10 news article that came out the day of the protest. And we're going to watch a little bit.
Is this going to be another...
Right here, Jim Chapman starts out.
My concern is this going to be another one of those mostly peaceful protests.
And that is, I'm just going to say, that is such a lie, because he knows his community. There's nobody that's going to burn down their community, and there was no one at that protest except for that one terrible airsoft drive-by. Everybody else was happy, waving their signs, talking to each other. Everybody around here, Midwesterners, were just a friendly folk from the Shire. That's how I feel. And somebody else feels the same way, which I'm going to get into a letter to the editor here in a little bit. But they they compare Big Rapids in this area to the Shire from Lord of the Rings, and I do as well, because I've lived in other places. I've been around the world in a way, and not every place in the world, of course, but I've been several places, and there's no place like home here in Michigan. Big Rapids, Fremont, this whole area all up and down the Muskegon River is just so beautiful. And it's like the Shire, and I want it to be pristine. But, you know, just like in Lord of the Rings, the war touches everything, even the Shire, so...
The streets of Big Rapids packed with protesters against the proposed Gotion electric vehicle battery plant. The state and Gotion claim the plant will create thousands of jobs and bring billions of dollars of investment to the Big Rapids area. They say it will also give Michigan an edge in the future of electric vehicle industry, but the plant has been a source of controversy locally and nationally since it was announced last year because of the company's ties to China. 9 and 10 Zachariah Wheaton was in Big Rapids and heard concerns from protesters as well as state representatives, and has our continuing coverage.
People lined the streets outside Ferris State University in Big Rapids to protest the proposed battery plant, as well as local township boards.
We are angry because Jim Chapman and the Green Township Board kicked us out of the public meeting to ask questions about this toxic chemical plant that they're bringing in.
The Green Township Board...
So, the one person so far they've talked to, it wasn't about China. And that is a valid concern, but a bigger concern for a majority of these people are the environmental impacts. After Palestine, Ohio, man, I don't know why you wouldn't be worried about poison in your water.
Held a virtual panel discussion featuring representatives from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, Consumers Energy, and the Dean of Ferris State University. The discussion was originally supposed to happen at Williams Auditorium, but was moved to virtual after protests were announced.
It was most definitely a safety concern. You get that many people in one room with all their signs, there's going to be somebody that has to stand up and shout, somebody that has to wave a sign.
Oh no, somebody shouts and waves a sign. That's so dangerous. It's dangerous for the powers that don't want us to talk to each other and know our strength in numbers. That's how it's dangerous for them, but it's not dangerous physically. What he just said is crazy to me. And Jim gaslighting all his bullshit. Yes, I agree with you, Charlotte. He does gaslight quite a bit in all these interviews. One of the interviews he said something about there's no rail station around here. There's no train station, and yet it was Chuck Thelen that mentioned a train station being a reason why he wanted to come to the area. So gaslighting is abound, unfortunately. And Pilot, south of Big Rapids, yes, anybody in the state of Michigan has a right to speak about this and be concerned, because our taxpayer, $1.1 billion of taxpayer money is going towards this plant. So everybody has a right to speak and be worried about it, not just people in Green Township or even just the people on the river.
Hundreds of protesters were in Big Rapids to voice their opposition, and there were even some state representatives who joined them.
The people of this area they feel like their local government is not listening to them. So we're here today just to support them.
This proposed plant is sitting very, very close to the Muskegon River. And the Muskegon River runs all the way through Newaygo County. So if anything happens, anything goes awry here, we will get the results. So will Muskegon County, and so will Lake Michigan.
A former Republican candidate for Michigan governor. And
I really appreciate Mr. Fox. I've got to meet him a couple times now just at the meetings, but he is the Newaygo County rep, and I appreciate what he's doing for Newaygo County and trying to speak up about it, because I live in Newaygo County, and it's a worry for everybody on the river.
Current candidate for the 2024 presidential race, Perry Johnson, stopped by the rally to talk with protesters and share his concerns.
The number one problem we have is with China. And here we're giving them literally billions of dollars to come and build a factory. I ask you, can't we at least go with an American company or one of our allies?
Green Township supervisor says he just wants what's best for the community. And many of the protesters are saying the same.
It's turned into, instead of pure Michigan, pure greed. And what's our legacy for our kids? Is it employment, or is it saving this precious land that we live in.
In Big Rapids, Zachariah Wheaton, 9 and 10.
Yep, that's what it is. That's what it is for majority, for all of us, really. We're worried. All right, so we got April 5th, the same day, from the Big Rapids Pioneer. Gotion VP clears up misconceptions about potential battery plant. Do they, though? Huh. There's a spelling error right there. Plans for the potential Gotion Inc. battery component manufacturing, Green Township, continue to progress slowly forward as the company awaits the approval of the SOAR funding appropriation from the Senate Appropriations Committee. You know, thank you for reminding me, Pioneer. I think that might be this Wednesday or next Wednesday. I'm pretty sure that every Wednesday the Appropriations Committee gets together. So we gotta keep an eye on that. Gotion Global Vice President Chuck Thelen told the Pioneer they are expecting the results of the appropriations vote in the Senate by mid-April. So that would be this Wednesday or next. I would say this Wednesday. Process of getting a facility like this from the planning stage to the up and running stage is a huge undertaking. Plan, then execute. We're waiting on word from the state. If all goes well, our target is to break ground in July of this year. He continued. That means in July of 2025, we'll be putting out our first part. I look to start hiring people as soon as May 1st. I will pursue local talent first. We have many different areas: logistics, purchasing, HR, and health safety engineers. You know, we don't have all the information yet, and they're talking about breaking ground. The plan for the Green Charter Township facility to create the materials required for the lithium iron phosphate battery anode and cathode components. I understand the environmental concerns, but it is not a concern because of the extensive efforts we go to so that, number one, we don't waste money. Number two, we don't want an unsafe work environment. Well, I'm sorry, working around these materials is unsafe, period. You have to wear special equipment. So, and that's the thing, an accident is called an accident for a reason. Of course, you're not intentionally damaging your products by getting them wet. But what if an accident happens? What if a fire starts? Who is going to save us? Who is going to help us? When lithium comes to a manufacturing facility, it has been refined to the point that it is 99% pure, and they add phosphate to it to make it stable. That is very expensive. That will be kept under lock and key and will be contained in a humidity-controlled, clean environment. Because it is so expensive, we are not going to be throwing it on the ground or in the river. Again, that's bullshit. No one's saying that you're going to go and throw the materials in the river. The other side of the battery is the anode. The most populous material on the anode is graphite, like you would find in a number 2 pencil. It's degradation, it's belittlement, it's I would say just annoying, but it's more than annoying. It is insulting, but what do you expect from somebody like Chuck Thelen? That is all untrue, and you know, I heard something about him saying lithium is ethically sourced or something like that. If you look into lithium at all, Argentina is being destroyed by lithium mining. So don't let him lie to you. Look into lithium mining for yourself. Those are the major components. Let's see. The concerns over cobalt are misplaced because cobalt will not be used at this facility, he added. At the end of the day, we are going to install a process that we have already mastered. That process will come over here, and we will replicate what we are doing elsewhere. This will not be an innovation. It will be an adaptation of processes that are already proven. Well, none of that tells me anything. So how about you give me exactly how many chemicals, exactly what's going on at the plant, an environmental survey. How about you give us some real information? Thelen said he has heard the term environmental impact study being thrown around and explained there is not one full environmental impact study, but rather multiple ones for different areas of concern. What you do is have an impact study for each piece of the environment. So you will have a water study, you will have an air study, you will have a transportation study, and so forth. All of those go to the permitting commissions for the state. Where are they? We want to see them. Before you break ground, we want to see them. That's not too much to ask, is it? Where's your transparency? He further explained that for air quality, the contaminants have to be under a certain number of parts per billion or they're considered hazardous. The state and the federal EPA have two classifications of air submission. One is called minor and the other is major. We have all of our data that shows we will be in the minor classification. We will have our air cleaners going at the plant to ensure we are not expelling anything that is toxic. Yeah, trust the EPA. The Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy will be involved in many of the components of the environmental impact studies, he added, along with environmental consultants and legal experts. So government is working with big business in a private-public partnership, and yet we're supposed to expect them to actually audit themselves, to actually do what's right. I'm sorry, but I'm not naive, and I don't believe it. There are different departments at the state level, air quality, water, wetlands. We will work with each of those permitting commissions. We will hear from them what has to happen, and we will go and do it. Once they say yes, then we will make a final application for permitting. That process is still ongoing. Let's see. Sorry, we got some comments. Pilot Jim also said there was a 90 to 95% support for the plant. Yes, and canvassers went door to door, and they don't want it in the community. So yes, Jim did lie, because 90 to 95% of people didn't even know about it until those canvassers went and knocked on those doors. And then they said 90 to 95% of them said they didn't want it. So he just said what he just said what he wanted us to hear. You know, he lied. Yes. And Woodsman says, are they investing in the local fire department? Yeah, as in all the PPE and extra equipment, trucks, full-time firefighters. That is a great question, they say, but again, there's no plan that has been given out. And our fire around this whole area needs money already. They need to be boosted up. So, yeah, we're not ready. And that's the thing. Australia, they've implemented EV battery technology way more than we have, and the firefighter union from Australia has warned that they weren't ready and nobody's ready. The EV fires are fast and they can reignite over and over, and there's just problem after problem with fires. So that is another concern that we have to deal with if this stupid plant goes through. Let's see. That plan will include the use of green energy at the facility. What that means is when they purchase energy from Consumers Energy, they will purchase green energy credits, which means when the facility pulls energy from the grid, it will come from those green sources and not from coal or natural gas. Green energy credits. It's kind of like when Bill Gates gets questioned, you are worried about your carbon footprint, but you're flying around the world talking about it. Well, I pay. That's what Bill Gates said, basically. I pay extra. So because you have money, you can do that because you're offsetting carbon emissions with your money. It's the same kind of concept to me. You're offsetting with green energy credits. Thank you, Pilot. Yes, smash the like if you are getting value out of this content, and subscribe if you are interested in Michigan news and Industry 4.0. Which is what this battery crap is, unfortunately. The facility is planned for property along 18 Mile Road in Green Charter Township. The reason they moved the entire operation to Green Charter Township is because the Big Rapids Township Industrial Park's proximity to Robin Hood Airport precludes them from establishing the facility there. That's what they're saying. How about the fact that Big Rapids Township was pushing back, was asking questions, and since you couldn't answer them, they didn't want the project in that area. But no, it's because we just couldn't do it. So disingenuous, these people. I originally started looking at that property when the goal was to set up a 10 gigawatt battery plant. That is when I thought the property would be useful, because it would not require the tall ceilings and the components facility needs. Once we shifted the plan and decided to put our finished goods plant in a different location, the board came back to me and told me to find out what it would take to put the precursor materials facility in the Big Rapids area. One consideration was the airport. He said the fact that the Federal Aviation Administration will not allow a facility taller than 50 feet near a runway. The current facility plans for 70-foot ceilings. Additionally, the plan to use an industrial park property for warehousing and truck parking was nixed because of the difficulties with traffic flow for trucks and employees. Yeah. When you're designing a plant, it is a known rule you don't intermingle foot traffic with truck traffic. If the pedestrian traffic is coming across 18 Mile Road and the truck traffic is going into the plant on the north side, it doesn't make sense to have the warehouse or truck parking on the south side of 18 Mile Road. It is for that reason that we can't use Big Rapids Township site. Do you believe them? I mean, those do sound like valid hurdles, the 70-foot, 50-foot, but it's all convenient that they're saying it now after Big Rapids said, we don't want you. Thelen said, despite all the controversy in the community regarding the potential facility, he believes it will happen, and he hopes many of the concerns and issues can be settled through the panel discussion to take place at 6:30 p.m. Wednesday, April 5th. Yeah, I know he believes it'll happen. Lots of money is involved. He's been working on this since at least 2021, maybe 2020, and yeah, of course he does, wants it in. I have not watched the panel discussion yet. I actually plan on watching it on Wednesday at 9 a.m. So if you want to join me, I am going to go through and see what they lie about and counter any crap that they try to spew. Two more real quick. We have the state reps approach Township Supervisor about Gotion Battery Plant. This one, I think this was the article that was mentioned at the pop-up meeting on Good Friday. So there might be something in it about Mr. Fox, yes. While protesters gathered outside the Fair State University campus prior to Gotion Inc. project panel discussion April 5th, 4 state representatives visited Green Township Supervisor Jim Chapman. Chapman told the Pioneer that District 101 Rep. Joseph Fox from Fremont and District 36 Rep. Steve Cara from Three Rivers, along with 2 other state representatives whose name we did not know, visited him at his office to discuss the Gotion Battery Plant project. They wanted to come up here and educate this poor, dumb country boy, Chapman said. Wow. They came here before they went to get their picture taken at the rally, protesters outside FSU. You know, I heard, I'm pretty sure that it was in that live stream on Friday, that Chapman is actually carrying, open carrying. Now, I am 100% for your Second Amendment rights, constitutional carry. It is an equalizer for women, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into that right now, but the fact that he would open carry at Green Township when the 4 reps came to visit him, it's kind of weird to me. But, again, you have a right. He said they indicated they were concerned about the Chinese Communist Party connection with the company. Solar panels. Yes, solar panels. That's another fallacy. Here in Michigan, I love Michigan, but we're not a sunny state. And I don't want acres and acres of solar panels where we could have farmland growing food. You can't eat a frickin' solar panel, okay? And Charlotte says Michigan's secret society of political bureaucracy and shareholders must be stopped. We're gonna have to recall. Yes, we are. Recalls. Recalls all around. Try to get these people out and get people in that actually want to represent the people, not the big government. First of all, they said, this is the CCP coming in, and I asked them, based off what? He said, I asked them if they have seen any evidence of any companies around the country promoting China, and they said nothing. I asked them if they know how many Chinese companies are currently in the state of Michigan, and they said nothing. Excuse me. I asked them if they know how many are in their districts, and they said nothing. Chapman said he informed them that Gotion is an international company with a board of directors consisting of German, American, and Chinese members, and there are currently 52 companies in the state of Michigan owned by Chinese corporations. And all of that, have you seen any reports or any evidence of any action of any of those companies to promote the CCP? He asked them. Given that there was nothing in those 52 companies, what makes them think that company number 53 was going to do it instead? This is all disingenuous. I have several videos on Gotion being a Chinese company. The CCP ultimately has say in any production company. So again, I'm not going to get into that because I have several videos, but if you know anything about communist China, then you would know that they own it. CCP has ultimate say. Joseph Fox stated Chapman said multiple times he was given a game board from Lansing. Yes. And he's just playing what he was given. Chapman is a coward. Yes, he is. And he, just like Mr. Fox said, he is a pawn on the chessboard. And it is a big chess game. This is a global chess game that we have stumbled upon. Unfortunately, has come to our shire, actually. I told them we didn't set this up, you did, he said. Maybe you're right. That it is wrong. But I am not the one that gets to choose the system. You guys up in Lansing set the game up and the rules, and I have to work within those rules. Just excuses. You know, the representatives then began to talk about the evils of economic incentives, Chapman said. Yeah, and I just can't believe that you wouldn't have an intelligent, well, I guess I can believe you wouldn't have an intelligent conversation yet. Economic incentives is just centralized government using your taxpayer dollars. And the fact that he's just, this is just the game, I'm playing the game. That is very cowardly. Chapman said he believes they don't want to get rid of economic incentives, they just want to be able to use them in their own districts. Ugh. The divide in our country is because of stuff like this. It's like, again, I've met Mr. Fox, and these people are people from Michigan. They're locals. They don't go to Washington. They go to Lansing. And so far, I've seen a big difference. The people that go to Washington, yeah, there's something there in Washington. Something very dark. And I'm not saying there isn't in Lansing, too. Obviously, Michigan's got problems. But my point is that to give such, I don't know how to say it, a terrible outlook for these individuals that are trying to just talk sense, talk to you. You know, it just tells a lot about Chapman. It tells more about Chapman than anybody else. You don't see them trying to limit their growth area, you don't see them trying to limit growth in their areas. They have the recycling plant coming into Newaygo, and I would be more concerned about trying to burn plastic and causing air pollution. There's absolutely no evidence of air pollution here with the Gotion project. They come here and talk about ruining farmland, while in Sterling Heights area, every time you turn around, there is another apartment complex or shopping mall. Where are they protecting the farmland in their own districts? This pointing at other people stuff needs to stop. How about don't worry about all that. Right now, we're talking about item A, and you are directly involved in item A, and that is what this discussion is about. All that other stuff, I don't want farmland at all to go to apartment complexes or shopping malls. I don't believe any shopping malls are getting built. Those are actually going under, but I hate that. Just take responsibility for what is going on and what you are doing. Look at this project. We don't want this Gotion project, and that's what we're talking about right now. So stop pointing at all this other crap. It's really important as long as it doesn't affect their pockets. Oh, there's the real truth. This is going to affect his pocket, one way or another. They are perfectly willing to come up here and tell us how to live, and quite honestly, it is insulting. I haven't been treated like that kind of an ignorant child since I was an ignorant child. You still are an ignorant child from where I sit. Now they can go back to FSU and tell everybody there how they tried to straighten things out with me and get their picture taken for their campaign flyer. He's so cynical. In a statement to the media, Fox said he shares the concerns of protesters and it should be something the whole state is paying attention to. Absolutely agree, Mr. Fox. The proposed plant is sitting very close to the Muskegon River, and the Muskegon River runs all the way through Newaygo County. So if anything happens here, we will get the results. So will Muskegon County, and so will Lake Michigan. They contacted them as of 2 p.m. and no calls returned. So Chapman is showing his cards, which we all knew. You know, I heard actually that he has land that he's selling. It's been announced several times. If you have a hunting app, you can actually look and see who owns the land. And I guess there's 2 pieces of property. I need to verify this myself, and once I do, I will share it with you. But I'm telling you what I've heard, and that he's got 2 pieces of property that will be sold to Gotion. So if that's true, I also heard that it's 4 times more is what they're giving these people. So he could get $1 million. Again, all speculation, but if you have $1 million coming your way, maybe that's why you would act the way you are towards everybody trying to stop the deal. Speculation. Governor Whitmer did go to World Economic Forum in Geneva, and we have to pay attention. Yes. Yep, I have done a couple videos on that. I've been looking at the World Economic Forum for quite some time, but then this Gotion battery plant happened, and I found the World Economic Forum in our backyard. So they do say, the UN, which partnered with the World Economic Forum, that you think globally, act locally. And that's what they're doing. So Whitmer had made a deal with World Economic Forum, and they're here. And so that's really the Michigander battle, in my opinion. That is huge. Lawsuits pending if true. Yes, I need to verify. This is all just things I've heard. I do not hunt, so I don't have the app, but I plan on getting it as long as I don't have to give too much information and give all my stuff from the phone to them like some apps require. But if anybody has any information on him owning land and selling it to Gotion, I would love you to send me that information. So, last article I wanted to share, this beautiful person has sent a letter to the editor. War comes to the Shire. Marjorie Steele, I love you. I love that you are a nerd, like me. Call me a nerd, but I have to say that this whole Gotion business makes me feel a bit like Frodo returning to the Shire to find his home sacked by Saruman. I worked in white-collar communications in Grand Rapids from 2008 to 2021, and I returned here to my hometown after having burned my mental health out like a moth in the flame. My burnout was due to many factors, one of them having to deal with the relentless greed and corruption of the urban development industry, which UN Agenda 21 has taken over development. It's a sustainable development plan. I came back home a few years ago to my family's homestead, not just to get away from the downtown corporate hustle, but also to get away from big city money and the corruption that comes with it. The Big Rapids community has its flaws, but it's reliably kind and full of helpful folk, and it's beautiful. I agree. Yet, here I am, about 80 hours of research in, trying to get an answer to one simple question: when can I see an environmental impact report on the $2.2 billion Gotion battery plant that's proposed for my town? The multiple impact reports Gotion VP Chuck Thelen referred to during the April 5th meeting, which go to the permitting commissions for the state, are not environmental impact reports. They're permit applications. Oh, thank you for that clarification. An impact report is performed by an independent party before permits are filed as part of a developer's due diligence. According to the Right Place, no such report exists. Neither did they indicate in their communication with me a timeline for when we might expect one. It seems that we, as a community, are supposed to be content with the post-construction enforcement of Eagle's existing substandard regulations as the only safeguard against Big Rapids, Michigan becoming the next Hinckley, California, the town from Aaron Brockovich. Yeah, I love this individual. I have to say that I'm just shocked. And it's not because I'm unfamiliar with development. My sweat, tears, and creative directorship went into redevelopment of the Kendall and New Grand Rapids Brewing Company buildings. among others downtown Grand Rapids. Due diligence is a necessary confession for any good faith development project. That means all stakeholders investigate and verify facts about the deal down to the minute detail. The failure of due diligence on this Gotion project, in my opinion, is astounding. That said, I do applaud the Big Rapids Township Board members who submitted the CIFIS review to investigate security. Yes, Big Rapids Township Board members, I appreciate you. But there's more. There's also the over $14 million in plant infrastructure upgrades that will be required to our water, sewer, and road systems to accommodate the plant, which is possibly more investment in infrastructure than this city has ever seen. And of course, there's the suspect quality of the jobs, not just the wages, but the health risks that may be involved. Risks we could discuss if there were an environmental impact study. I encourage your readers to call their senators. This ball is largely in their court now. Yours, Marjorie Steele, Big Rapids. Thank you. I appreciate your Lord of the Rings reference. I, too, found Saruman at the Shire, and just like Frodo got Saruman and Wormtongue out of the Shire, I have faith that we're going to get Gotion EV Battery out of our Shire. So, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you, and I will be doing that video on Wednesday at 9 a.m. So if you want to watch the battery panel with me, join me then. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.